Hello, and thank you for joining us at this community town hall to discuss City Manager T.C. Broadnax's recommended budget for fiscal year 2021, which begins on October 1st. My name is Elizabeth Raich. I am the City of Dallas's Chief Financial Officer, and I'm excited to share the budget with you today. We have prepared a 2-year biennial budget that reflects our vision of One Dallas, together. Based on recommendations from residents, faith and education leaders, community activists, neighborhood groups, and other stakeholders, we developed an action plan that aligns our intentions and resources to produce real change and real action: responsible, equitable, accountable, and legitimate. We focused on long-term fiscal sustainability by proposing a spending plan for the upcoming fiscal year while also laying out a plan for the subsequent year. This allows us to ensure that recommendations that we are making for the budget can be sustained. Let me start by giving you a high-level overview of the budget, and then I will highlight some of the details. The biennial budget is balanced for each of the next 2 years, which means we are not spending more than the resources we expect to have, and we are not dipping into our reserves. This chart shows the FY21 budget, which totals $3.83 billion. The FY21 General Fund, in the yellow box, is usually the one that gets the most attention. It totals $1.44 billion, which is actually $29,000 less than the FY20 General Fund budget that the City Council adopted a year ago. Obviously, there are many increases and decreases that get us back to the same overall total. Today, I will discuss our efforts to reimagine public safety and reinvest in our communities with this budget, all without increasing the property tax rate. Funding for the city's budget comes from many different revenue sources. As you know, we charge customers for services such as water and sanitation. However, for most of the services the city provides, such as libraries, parks, streets, code compliance, animal services, emergency medical response, and more, we rely on the property and sales taxes you pay, as well as franchise fees, charges for service, fines, and other sources. Property tax accounts for 57% of general fund revenue, which is a significantly higher percentage than in prior years, due to the drop in sales taxes caused by the COVID-19 pandemic and subsequent recession. I would like to provide a bit more detail on property taxes. There are 3 factors that affect the property taxes you pay: values set by your appraisal district, exemptions allowed by state law and approved by the City Council, and the rate set by the City Council. This year, we project that values will increase by 5.28%, of which 3.2% is from new construction and 2.1% is from reappraised properties. The city is also maintaining its exemptions, including a 20% homestead exemption and a $100,000 exemption for seniors and individuals with disabilities. And as I mentioned, the city manager is not recommending any increase to the rate. This budget maintains the current property tax rate at 77.66 cents per $100 in valuation. Another major source of revenue for the city is sales tax, which in Dallas is 8.25%, including the 2% local option that is governed and capped by state law. The city receives 1% of the total 8.25%. This year, sales tax revenue has declined sharply from the FY20 budget of $325.6 million to our current forecast of $309.3 million. In the FY21 budget, we are forecasting a further decline to $296.3 million. We expect economic recovery in FY22 and project that receipts will return to $309.3 million. This is why property taxes are increasing as a percentage of general fund revenue, because sales taxes have declined since FY19, and we do not expect them to fully recover until FY23. So now that we've covered the big picture, it's time to get real. What does this budget mean for Dallas? Let me tell you about our plan to produce responsible, equitable, accountable, and legitimate change and action. The city manager's proposed budget invests in multiple alternatives to police response. First, it expands the Right Care program, which began in 2018 as a pilot project at the South Central Patrol Division. We will add 4 more teams in FY21 and an additional 5 teams in FY22 to expand the program around the city. Additionally, we are adding $1 million a year to remove barriers and expand access to mental health services. These investments in right care and mental health services will reduce the need to dispatch police officers to behavioral health calls. Next, Dallas will form a mobile crisis response team to support police officers when residents need direct services, such as food, housing, transportation, or shelter in cases of domestic violence. With 25 civilian social service professionals and community resources, this team will make a big difference in people's lives. As an alternative to assessing a criminal charge, we plan to divert public intoxication cases from jail to a recovery services center staffed with 11 caseworkers who will help individuals identify and manage substance use disorders. And finally, in this category, we plan to respond more efficiently to high-priority calls and free up resources for other efforts through continued implementation of the DPD staffing study recommendations. We will begin to transition support responsibilities to non-uniformed staff, explore the transfer of low-priority calls to other city departments, and identify internal efficiencies. Each of the next 2 years, we plan to hire 150 officers, which is the most we can hire and train safely due to COVID. Additionally, in FY22, we plan to hire 50 civilians and return 50 officers to traditional police officer activities. Our commitment to real change also includes initiatives to reduce harm. We will improve police training in alignment with the principles of 21st century policing by enhancing external review, expanding programs to reduce implicit bias, and requiring annual training in alternative solutions, de-escalation, and less lethal tactics. We will also develop an early warning system to identify officers that exhibit a dangerous pattern of behavior. In this budget, we fund 2 additional positions to support the Community Police Oversight Board, a mediation coordinator, and intake specialist. This will help to strengthen accountability, provide oversight, and give residents an avenue to voice concerns outside of the police department. Finally, in the category of reducing harm, we will partner with community organizations to establish violence interrupters, credible individuals who serve as mentors and conflict resolution experts to curb violence from within their neighborhoods. Next, our action plan turns to addressing root causes. We are putting $1 million towards supporting formerly incarcerated people re-entering public life through community-based services, such as housing placement, job skills training, job placement, and wraparound support services. We have added resources to reduce crime and improve quality of life by remedying environmental issues, such as vacant lots, abandoned properties, substandard structures, and insufficient lighting. And we are funding 3 new Mow Clean crews in code compliance to target illegal dumping. As we have heard from so many, making communities safer goes far beyond policing. Let me highlight for you several initiatives that are part of our Real Action Plan. We will reintroduce the Youth Support Services Division in Park and Recreation, which, in partnership with the Library and Office of Arts and Culture, will engage Dallas teens positively. And for those looking for a job or to hire employees in Dallas, we will have a single team in economic development focused on business and workforce development. This team will collaborate with community stakeholders to prepare residents for emerging job growth sectors. We will roll out the Broadening Urban Investment to Leverage Dallas, the BUILD program, to strengthen small businesses. And we will lead by example by raising the minimum wage for permanent city employees, first to $14 an hour in FY21 and then to $15 an hour in FY22, and by maintaining pay for part-time, seasonal, and temporary employees at 50 cents above the MIT living wage. Safe and stable housing is critically important. That's why we are focused on refining the comprehensive housing policy to better meet residents' housing needs and on helping tenants facing eviction. In the Office of Community Care, we will pilot 2 financial empowerment centers, which are community-based centers that offer financial coaching, employment referrals, mental health services, and housing support to help low-income residents navigate out of poverty and achieve financial stability. Community Care will also provide direct assistance to residents, including rent and utility assistance, food distribution, benefits navigation, and clothing distribution. This budget focuses on infrastructure equity as well, including extending water and wastewater infrastructure to all residents in unserved areas within the next 10 years, making investments in streets, alleys, sidewalks, and other infrastructure in neighborhoods and near schools and senior centers, increasing accessibility for residents with disabilities by implementing the Sidewalk Master Plan, and by continuing to update city facilities in compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act. We are committed to making all city services and programs accessible to residents with limited English proficiency. We are investing in translation efforts, more bilingual customer service agents, and better communications capabilities. We even plan to launch a Spanish-language city television channel. Further, it is imperative that we begin to bridge the digital divide for school children, job seekers, and other residents who need access. In addition to multiple innovative pilot programs to bring connectivity to underserved neighborhoods, we will have a total of 3,000 hotspots and dozens of Chromebooks available for checkout at select libraries. Cities across America are built with bonds. We are excited to be opening 3 new facilities in FY21, funded by voter-approved bonds. The Vickery Park Branch Library will feature a youth center with cutting-edge technology, and the new Forest Green branch will replace the original, which opened in 1976 and was the smallest of all Dallas libraries. Fire Station 59 will serve City Council Districts 5, 7, and 8, and cover the previously underserved area bounded by I-45, US 75, and I-635. The Comprehensive Environmental and Climate Action Plan includes several actions that are already underway or can be implemented immediately, such as forming a community advisory group, implementing recommendations from the Urban Forest Master Plan, and developing an urban agriculture plan. We have already begun to streamline brush and bulky trash collection to reduce emissions, improve air quality, and realize collection efficiencies outlined in the CCAP. And we will develop additional changes, such as separate collection of brush and bulk trash and increased use of automated trucks for City Council consideration and later implementation. The recommended budget also makes smart reductions for efficiency across the organization while maintaining services and operations. For example, we will transfer staff from several areas to build a new data analytics team that will harness the city's data to promote transparency and accessibility to the public, and provide crucial insights that support better decision-making throughout the organization. The budget also integrates the city's equity, resilience, inclusion, fair housing, and human rights initiatives into one Office of Equity and Inclusion. Paid for with fees, enterprise funds are also an important part of the city budget. Our largest enterprise fund is Dallas Water Utilities. This year, the Water Department was able to reduce the typical residential customer monthly fee by 3.3%, from $65.30 to $63.16. In FY21, the fee will increase by a modest 1% to $63.79, and the Water Department will continue to focus on the infrastructure needed to provide 138 billion gallons of drinking water and fire protection to more than 2.5 million people, and treat 68 billion gallons of domestic and industrial wastewater. Storm drainage management is another important service funded with fees. In FY21, they will continue to focus on minimizing flooding, managing emergency flood response, maintaining neighborhood drainage systems, and repairing street, alley, and sidewalk infrastructure that connects to the drainage system. Storm drainage management plans an 8.7% fee increase, from $7.74 to $8.41 per month for the typical residential customer. Which brings me to the final fee our residents pay, the fee for sanitation services. From weekly trash pickup to bulk and brushy collections to landfill operations and more, sanitation services works to keep our city clean. Notably, removal of debris from the June 2019 storm and the October 2019 tornado were tremendous undertakings and used most of the financial reserves sanitation had been building. Therefore, in FY21, the monthly residential sanitation fee will increase from $28.64 to $30.52. We have put together this taxpayer impact statement to show you the change a typical residential ratepayer will see in their bills from the city. The top chart details the change for a residential homeowner with a homestead exemption, and the bottom chart details the change for the typical senior. While the proposed budget does not raise the property tax rate, values are increasing. Therefore, the tax bill goes up by $135.17. And with the fee increases we just reviewed, the total typical bill goes up by $173.33. When you add it all up, you are helping the city provide a wide range of services to meet residents' needs, from streets and water to paramedics and parks. There is no doubt that we're here for you 365 days a year. So what's next? Following the budget town hall meetings, the City Council will have an opportunity to consider amendments to the proposed budget and will close out the process on September 23rd by voting on the budget and other associated items. And then the real work begins. The city manager and his team will go to work implementing this budget on October 1. We are reimagining public safety and focusing on the resilience of the community, making real change and taking real action. We welcome your feedback and your partnership as we work to build one Dallas together. Thank you for joining us today. Please visit our Financial Transparency website for more information.